All right, Marcus, you talked about some of the famous quotes. I do think we need to make sure we interject as many of these possible. I mean, one, it's a Festivus miracle that we're bringing this back. So, Stallion, I want you to start us off on the errand of grievances. You know, like I think George Costanza's dad started off and said, I got a lot of problems with you people, and you're going to hear about it. So give me a little action. What's some of the errand of grievances you have of what's happened in 2024?
Well, I'll tell you, we're not going to talk about people here. Otherwise, this would be like a Russ and Joey show. And, you don't have time for that. But it's in place of like our financial picture, right? Our financial freedom and where we're headed. What has really been a disappointment for me is, man, we started 100 Unicorns so strong. No, that's not true. 2019, it started with a nosedive, and it continued that way. And then this year, we had light at the end of the tunnel. We hired an operator. We built our own products, our logo and everything for Amazon. And guess what? We launched our products just in time for some Chinese knockoffs to come in and totally obliterate the profit margins that we had on the two products. So I have a lot of blankets. If anybody's looking for a blanket that glows in the dark that has unicorns on it, I'm your guy. They're really inexpensive to you right now. And I'm just disappointed that we didn't have any success. But I'll tell you this, stay tuned. Because I'm not going to give up on the 100 Unicorns miracle. As you said, the Festivus miracle, the 100 Unicorns miracle will come to fruition. It's just a matter of time, Russ. And so anyway, that's one of my grievances.
If you've listened to our show for any length of time, you've heard us talk about infinite banking and how we were able to use that concept to create over $50,000 a month in passive income. But it's just not that easy to figure out, how does this all connect into my own personal system?
Stallion, that's why we created the passive income operating system, bro. It shows you how to turn active income into passive income. It makes all the steps come together. If you would like to get access to it as a podcast listener, we've never given this away in public before. Go to what'swhatwallstreet.com/PIOS.
Jonathan, I don't know what's more fake. The idea that the 100 Unicorns is going to make a comeback, or George's contribution to the human fund for his boss in that episode. Whatever the grievance could you add to the list personally?
Oh, man. Whenever I'm thinking about 2024, even rolling back into 2023 a little bit, I've got a significant amount of cash tied up into a land subdivide. And that land, you know what? The subdivide took a long time, and then it took a longer time, and then it took a longer time again. The power company has 2 employees, I believe. And all 2 employees, take long breaks, and it just is taking forever. So I've got some cash tied up in land, really hoping that will sell. I think it's just a matter of time. Might be spring, but it's like, man, I hate having money tied up that long on my investor buy box, on my list. I want the cash flow as quick as possible. And here I am sitting in a land deal that's taking, it's taking forever. And then if I'm going to add another grievance to that, I'm going to just say, man, is anybody pleased with the amount of spending our federal government is doing? This might be another podcast episode all in its entirety, but when they overspend, man, they're taking money out of the little old ladies who are living on Social Security. They're taxing them at the grocery store. And people like, me and us 3, we know how to align ourselves with the Fed. We get debt on real estate, and as the inflation increases, so does our net worth. Hey, you align with the evil guys, and there you go. You don't get trampled on. But there's a lot of blue collar people out there who are creating the wealth of this country and having it stolen from them at the grocery store. So, man, that one gets me.
I'm with you. And, maybe the people at the power company are just out on strike, kind of like Kramer was on the bagel company there for 12 years, but you never know. they may be out of strike, back on the bagel. Maybe they'll get back on the job for you in 2025 to get you going and get those deals passed through. Mark, give me a little action. What's some grievances you have from 2024?
So I've invested a substantial portion of money into some ATMs, yada, yada, yada. Everything was going great, yada, yada, yada. Now it looks like it might be a Ponzi scheme. So I got a lot of problems with you people that are running Ponzi schemes.
Who doesn't?
Oh my god. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've on that bandwagon. I think my errand of grievances is let's just do better, people. Right? Like when was, it used to be, hey, let's under promise and over deliver. And I feel like in the investment operator space, that has gone away. It's like, let me over promise, and not under deliver, not deliver at all. It's frustrating. And I think, there's this old adage, for those who just will do what they say they were going to do, will have more business than they ever will be able to serve. I think that would be a grievance I have. I've already talked about the economy. I mean, so many people experience this, and I think it was part of what you were talking about, Jonathan. I mean, just business owners from all different walks talked about, hey, I started out the year like rocket fuel, and then all of a sudden, somewhere around April, it's like everything hit the skids. And it's taken until we've seen this election cycle kind of starting to end, where momentum is starting finally to pick back up. And lastly, my last area of grievance is that, you, Joe, have had great experience with Turo because you have an operator in that space, but I got a grievance with just the amount of people that are just willing to smoke weed in your truck. I don't know if I'm ever going to get that smell out of my mouth or the taste out of it. I don't know, whatever it is. Like, I'm just frustrated with that. And I feel like we need to be better. Just be better. That's my errand of grievances for 2024. All right. So now we got to go around and that's our review. Let's talk about some other parts. That was the bad part of it, right? We've also had some successes, right? I want to talk a little bit about the feats of strength. And by the way, Stallion, this isn't over till you pin me.
This is going to be a long podcast, apparently. But yeah, I'm in the honor of Frank Costanza. These are the feats of strength. These are the things that went well. I can't ever, and you've heard us talk about this probably every month about our passive income. The land business continues to be something that is a bright light. It's something that continues to grow month after month. There's some flat months, but on the whole, it is growing and it is hands off. And man, I think we're really positioned well for 2025 with a lot of good inventory. But there seems to be, and I'm just kind of throwing this out there before we even get to what's next, a frenzy that's kind of underlying the economy right now. Like, I think that there's overall excitement about what's about to happen in this country. And I think that's going to yield itself into people buying more of everything. But I think land is one of those things people are going to want to buy as well. So I look at that as something that's been strong. And I think I've really been excited about the prospect of expanding that Turo fleet, as you mentioned, Russ. After meeting Aubrey Janik this year at our event in Nashville, just been really excited about what her course that teaches you how to buy the economy cars at a relatively low cost and how do you get that money back within roughly 10 months. That to me is the strategy that will make this a sustainable one. And anyway, so I'm looking to expand the fleet. I actually talked to a couple of people this past week about cars. And so that to me is something that has gone well, and I want to continue to do more. And then I think the vending machine space, we were able to get our first location where our first machine will come next week is what the expectation is. And so, yeah, just learning that with our daughters, I think has been a great win for us this year, and they're excited about it. And so anyways, it hasn't seen, any profits yet, but it's one of those things that I'm really excited about.
Yeah. In the words of Kramer, I find your belief system fascinating. Mark,
He's just going to keep doing this, folks. Like all the whole podcast is going to be.
Well, Mark challenged us. He said, for those who did not watch the episode, don't know about it, we need to give them all the quotes. So I'm trying my best to fill them in there. Mark, give me a feat of strength from 2024.
And looking at this, right, everything that's happened, I mean, incredibly tumultuous year. We had a national election, right? So there's a lot of change, a lot of things that happen in there. But what I took away from it was, look, even when the primary source of my passive income was detonated and it just exploded and it's gone, you can very easily fall back to, well, okay, I'm just going to go grab a W-2. I'm just going to go work a job. I'm going to give up on this whole idea of financial freedom. I'm just going to pack it all up because that was so painful. That was so bad. How do I go from being that high to all the way down to the bottom? But having the vision and having written goals and having them down helped pull me through to remind me, look, this is just a bump in the road. Sharon Srivatsa has said he's lost all his money, I think at least like twice. Lots of incredibly successful entrepreneurs have gone from hero back to zero, but yet they're able to come back up. Whereas I think the average person might not be able to rebound back up. And I think that's why a lot of people, when they win the lottery, within 6 months to a year, they're right back where they were, if not worse, because they haven't actually built it. They came into it. And so for me, the takeaway is falling back on the systems that we had. My infinite bank system has allowed me to carry a bunch of loans, and I don't have anybody breathing down my neck. There's nobody knocking on the door saying, by the way, you borrowed all that cash. Where's our payment? No, that's all being carried forward, and it's building me and giving me the freedom and the flexibility to weather the storm, recalibrate, retool, and relaunch.
Love every bit of that. Pastor Jonathan, give me some feats of strength.
Well, 2024, I was coming off of a 2023 that sounds a lot like Marcus going through in 2024. So going into 2024 for me, I was really looking to pivot, figuring out what to do. Of course, I started where I was already involved, the things that I had going, made sure that I was high efficiency and my personal finances, my short-term rental business, long-term rental, land flipping, those kinds of things. And then I also decided to, hey, I'm not going to just fold up. I'm going to continue to press forward. And so I wanted to start a financial coaching business, is what brings me here with you guys today. Thank you for the opportunity. I really set out a goal to become a great financial freedom coach. And I don't know, you'd probably have to ask my clients whether I was good or great, but I'm thinking that there's some 5-star reviews out there to speak the Airbnb language. And then also started another different style short-term rental business with arbitrage. And so I think moving forward out of that 2023, figuring out new strategies, taking what I knew and begin to utilize it. Yeah, that's 2024 has been one of recalibration, but moving forward for sure.
There was nothing worse than walking into class when you're in school and the teacher saying, pop quiz day. Why? Because you were unprepared. Are you unprepared, though, for financial freedom?
Don't be. Find out how close you are by taking our 30-second quiz at wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/quiz.
I feel like, Stallion, there's a lot of feats of strength. For those who are watching on YouTube, I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't share one of the feats of strength that you and I had. And that is, we got an opportunity to speak in front of 2,500 people at an event earlier this year. Spoke on the same stage as Pat Benatar, Patty B. And maybe equally as impressive is we were bold enough to enter the stage through dancing. So for those of you who only get to listen, hopefully this doesn't get us kicked off YouTube because we're sharing music that's not ours. But this is us coming into a talk we gave about a month and a half ago. Let your visuals take over here. Man, for those who are not watching on YouTube, you don't realize that was that took a long time for Stallion and I to plan that in our hotel room. And yes, that was Kid and Play, a little bit of the Running Man, and they didn't get to see me coming in doing the MC Hammer, but we had a great time doing that. So that was a strength. I would say, in addition to that creativity, is, man, we really took the idea of going from thinking 2x to 10x to a new level. There's things that we're building right now in our businesses, in our investment world, that we're going to look back on 5-10 years from now. We're going to say 2024 was the start of those conversations. And it all happens with surrounding yourself with people who've done amazingly big things to challenge you to think so much bigger than what you've been exposed to up to this point. And I love that. If you're not already in our community, I challenge you to go in there. It's wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/community. Just be around people who are thinking differently. That's why I love being here with you guys. I'm always challenged to figure out how to think bigger than what my upbringing gave me. And partnerships, I feel like that's been a feat of strength for us, is that we've met some amazingly awesome people who are strengthening our businesses, strengthening us in our investments. I think, man, that would be pretty cool. A feat of strength for us, Stallion. I can't believe you didn't mention it. We wrote a book and it was released in 2024. So if you hadn't had a chance to pick up a copy of that book, Wealth Without Wall Street, the 3 Steps to Freedom Through Passive Income, that came out this year. And maybe the
Audible version. Oh, don't forget the Audible version, Russ. I mean, that was one of your feats of strength for sure.
That is not a feat of strength. That would be more in the grievances side. My inability to read, that's really hard. Reading is hard. But also we pushed out probably our greatest resource of us working in this space for 15 years. We finally took this thing that we've been implementing, but we had never made it available to people. And that was our passive income operating system ebook. So if you haven't downloaded that ebook, go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/PIOS. And what a great tool that has been. We've got more feedback on that book. Like, oh, that unlocks so much for me. I would say total feat of strength. Okay. All right. So now we got to get over to the poll, the Festivus poll, right? I mean, the beauty of the Festivus poll, it was simple, right? It was an aluminum poll that Frank said that, that it had amazing strength to weight ratio. And also Kramer was like, do you have a tree? And he's like, no, I don't want a tree. Tinsel is distracting. It's just a poll. So for you, Joey, what is your Festivus poll for 2025?
Well, I think of it as what is to come and what is the distractions that I want to try to get rid of, right? In light of this whole poll analogy. And I think for me, I failed to mention that I had looked at another website because Earthly Goes is doing so well that I was looking at another website with a friend who was going to operate it. And I got to within the day where I was going to make the offer, I was just talking to the owner, and she sold it. Like I had no idea that it was even in talks with somebody else, and boom, she sold it. So I hated that, but I look forward to doing more of those sort of deals where I work with someone else who is an operator. We do some sort of a partnership that we can then work on the business side of it and the growth side of it. And so I look at things like that. Our candle operator, we want to talk to him about expanding his business and expanding that partnership. Those are things I think that are real opportunities next year, along with just some private lending things we've had come our way this year that I think will expand next year. And I already mentioned the Turo growth. I just want to see that grow as well. But the big clutter in my world is going to be removed by hiring a president, right? One of the big strategies we have right now is to go from being an S quadrant owner or self-employed person to a B quadrant business owner. As Robert Kiyosaki talks about the cash flow quadrant. If you haven't read that, it's a great resource. But that, to me, having somebody in that seat who's dedicated to the growth and the trajectory that we're on as a company will be amazing for just getting clutter out of the way so we can focus on some of the things that maybe haven't been priority because we've been kind of pulled into the business this past year. What about you?
I love that. Well, I'm thinking that from the Festivus, for me, it's really looking forward to helping our girls with the vending machine business. We got that first machine is going to be delivered any day now, and I'm excited to watch that grow. Also, our insurance business. Everyone knows we do this thing called infinite banking, and it's been a very specialized business. And what we've done is we've met a lot of people around the U.S. who are doing this, but maybe they're doing it solo or with a small partner, and they feel alone. They don't feel like they have the benefit of all the different things that we've been able to build over the years. And so we're actually in the process of growing our insurance business by acquiring a lot of those companies. And I think I'm excited about that because it's just new ideas get to come into our world. And also we get to hire even, just better and better people that can just make us all better. Because whenever you bring someone else in with a different idea, you have an opportunity to learn. I think that's super cool. So I'm excited about moving, turning the page, going to the next year and figuring out ways that we can grow and get better. How about for you, Mark?
Well, I'm looking at creating a Festivus miracle, because let's face it, it's not Festivus unless there's a Festivus miracle. I'm really looking forward to helping my wife launch. Well, she's already launched, but really launching and beginning to scale her functional health and wellness business. So a lot of the checklist items, making sure that we've got all the proper insurance, coverage, marketing, timing, scheduling, all those little things that help scale, kind of what Joey's trying to unload onto a CEO. That's what we're trying to pick up for her, is put those pieces together. So that's going to be a pretty big focus for me in 2025. But also for me on what I do and so forth now is remembering, hey, I entered this ecosystem from this side of the phone call in 2020. And that was jumping in, being given the opportunity to be able to help people uncover, hey, what is this infinite banking thing? What is this passive income operating system thing? What is this passive income thing, right? And helping people really uncover that and see, hey, is this a fit for you? How does it work? And do you want to make it work for you? And so that's really where I'm excited to really kind of retool and get back in and get back to the roots of why I'm even on this podcast in the first place, which is the Festivus miracle. I was able to retire from the airline early. It's awesome.
Yeah, now helping other people do and achieve that same miracle, which is not really a miracle, but it seems like it when they've never been exposed to the stuff, Mark, that you've learned, that you teach so well. I love every bit of it. How about you, Jonathan?
Whenever I'm thinking about 2025, it really is a total picture of my family. I've really come to understand, or capture a new vision. God's given me a new vision for where we're going with our family and our life. And so I want my kids to not just hear the lessons, learn the lessons, apply the lessons, and go off and do their own thing. I want us to all do it together. And I want them to understand that this life that, maybe they think my wife and I are building, this is just our life. I want them to see and be involved that, hey, this is something that we're doing. The ministries that we're starting, that we're involved in, that we're doing, this is your life and part of your legacy as well. You don't have to be in bondage to it, but you can be part of it and you can help shape it. The businesses that we're starting, the passive income streams that we're starting, all this is something that can be generational. So I really want to take it to the next level as far as helping my kids understand and be involved and really not do it in a way that they feel oppressed by it, but feel, it's life-giving for them. So that's really what 25 in total is about. But I do have a couple of things coming down the pipe. I've got some digital assets that I'm really excited about taking to market. So I do online business in that way. And then since I have been preaching for 20 years, there's some content available, the human part of this in conjunction with AI that can create a newsletter business. So I'm really excited about working with Sophie Howard to get those newsletters to market, maybe create an additional source of revenue there. And of course, through the process, be able to get the word out. And then I'm super pumped as a financial freedom coach. I get to work with the Passive Income Mastermind, this community that you guys have rolled out now in the 2.0 iteration of this thing. it's really going great over the past month. We've seen a lot of engagement. People are getting connected. It really feels like a family reunion that's kind of gathering up around this passive income mastermind. People are getting trained. They're getting everything that they need, financially speaking, from the standpoint of accountability, of coaching. So I'm excited to be part of that.
Oh, so good. Travis, as you're listening to this, I don't know if you're listening to this on your podcast, if you're on YouTube, maybe you see it on one of the social medias. I'd love for you to just tag us and tell us about one of the feats of strength that you've had this year. Maybe you want to share about the Festivus poll for you. What's that thing that you're going to be working on in 2025? Because when you put accountability out there, just by posting something like that, it'll make you rise up to that goal and try to hit that objective. I'll leave you with this. This is the words of Frank Costanza. He says, many Christmases ago, I went to buy a doll for my son. I reached up for the last one they had, but so did another man. As our rain blows upon him, I realized there had to be a better way, another way. I want you to think about this. If you have not become financially free, if you've not found a way to build passive income in your life, if you are not implementing the infinite banking concept so that you can better understand and utilize your cash flows, then here's your chance. Go to whatwallstreet.com/free call. You can get on a call with one of these coaches that you're listening to right now, and they can help you understand where you are, what are the next steps going to help you, the right next steps for you to take so that you in 2025 can become financially free. Have an amazing Christmas, amazing New Year. See you in 2025.
This has been the Wealth Without Wall Street podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the show to break free of the Wall Street mindset and begin building wealth on your own terms in places you understand so that your wealth will never run dry. See you next episode.